Well, good morning, everyone. First One 5 meteorologist Greg Bennett here. We are tracking for a beautiful day. First and foremost, why are you looking at me? You don't need to look at me. You need to look at this stunning view. Isn't that beautiful, guys? Gorgeous, gorgeous weather out there for today. We've actually got high pressure in place, and we're going to keep it there for about 12 hours. And then it's going to track off to the east. And then we're going to get into a nice southerly flow as we go through the afternoon, start to build up the cloud cover, and then another storm system is on tap for us. Yeah, it's going to be another day that we're dealing with the wet weather threat out there. We've got first warns in place. I actually want to go ahead and start talking about them. So let's get into it, talking about what you need to know as we move forward into the next 24 to really 72 hours. Here it is, first warn on tap for Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Scattered to isolated thunderstorms are looking likely for us. We've got more of a thunderstorm threat overall just on Thursday. Not quite yet yielding a severe weather opportunity, but that can change as we move forward into the next 24 to really 36 hours or so. But our better chances for severe storm activity, well, that's going to lie with our Tuesday and our Wednesday outlook. So that's why we wanted to get on here, kind of give you a chit chat about it and get you guys all prepped up for it. Today is going to be the day, though, to kind of reorganize yourself from the severe weather activity we saw this past weekend. So let's move forward into what our risks are. This is it, our slight risk for severe storm activity. That would be a severe thunderstorm chance level 2 on our forecast map here. That's that yellow zone, and it does include much of the metro itself. Obviously, you can see that it does involve portions of Clay County all the way over towards Jackson County, Johnson counties, Leavenworth County, right on up towards Nodway County, and as far south as about, we'll call it even Franklin and a bit of Anderson County. They're kind of a sliver of Anderson County, not quite for Garnett, but they're under the marginal risk. And that'll continue out towards our eastern counties, with Benton and Pettis counties kind of sort of lackluster with the intense storm activity. Now, with that being said, we still have Wednesday. Let's kind of move this forward and show you Wednesday's forecast. There it is, and it's more of a marginal threat for severe storm activity, with a kind of fringe line of a slight risk off around Atchison, Jefferson counties, Lawrence out there in Douglas County, and then stretching down to a little bit of Franklin and Anderson counties. All of that's going to be concentrated more out towards the west and deepening to the south into the panhandles of both Texas and into Oklahoma. Now, as I said, there is a threat for some storm activity Thursday, but it seems to not be showing up as much. We don't have a lot of instability at this time being featured to the mid-levels. But like I said, friends, just depending on how much energy is left over from these storms and the temperature that we get to for our Thursday, we could still yield a severe weather risk out there. So it'll be something that we monitor closely for you. I want to get into the next bit here, and that's going to be kind of where we're at with the modeling for the severe thunderstorm threat. And it's not going to be as big as what we were featuring when it comes down to it. Definitely don't have to worry about that, guys, but it's still something that we have to be very aware to in regards to the storm activity, because we still have a threat to get into some large size hail, damaging wind, and even a couple of spin-ups or two. So let's move the dial here in the timing, getting you past your Wednesday, which again, by the way, look at that clearing trend into the afternoon. I mean, it really is just going to be a beautiful day today. Very spring-like forecast for us. Moving forward, though, let's get on into our Tuesday. Now we're into the afternoon. Notice that we're starting to kind of increase the temperature here, right? That's kind of typical during this time frame. We're starting to really amplify the storm activity out from Nebraska into Iowa. That's going to be much better odds to see tornado development, or at least rotation of the atmosphere in some of those stronger storm cells. But by the time we get to 6 or 7 o'clock at night, you can see how we start to build up a line of storms that stretch right back down into our neck of the woods, right? It gets rather impressive just outside of Douglas County there, moving closer to around Franklin County, and then very close to around Nodway County as well, but still within the southern Iowa area. Those locations to the north, I think that's going to be a better threat that we could see maybe that rotation development. I'm not ruling it out necessarily further south, maybe around I-70 there, but I think we have better ingredients and a better transition of the atmosphere as you move up in height, for the wind to change direction and speed, and that's going to aid in maybe kind of pushing that rotation to occur within some of those thunderstorm cells. So it's going to be a bit more conducive to the north to get into any kind of rotation if, and that's a big if, we even see rotation of the atmosphere. Remember, it's a slight risk for severe storm activity, but it's also not a 0% chance that we'll see tornado development. We do have heightened chances, though, moderate threats overall, to get into an opportunity for hail and damaging wind. And when I mean damaging wind, I mean wind in excess of 58 miles per hour, the criteria we need for a thunderstorm warning to occur within the region. All right, so that's going to continue to move through, and as we get to about mid-evening, it looks like it wants to pass on through the metro itself. We'll take a little bit of a break from the storm system. It passes through, and then we'll get into Wednesday afternoon, and Wednesday's much more different in this model run than what we just saw with our Tuesday forecast. Monday afternoon does provide some scattered showers and thunderstorms, but they're scattered and isolated. Very isolated for us, just a few cells here and there, but it does get a little explosive there. You can see off around maybe Paola and perhaps off around the Clay County area, very close to around Ray County, kind of traveling up Interstate 35 around 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Almost a typical pattern for spring-like severe weather, right? Where we're peaking with the heat of the day, around 3, 4, 5 o'clock into the early evening. We've got the moisture content to the atmosphere. During this time frame, we should be seeing the upper 70s overall. So, the environment conducive for storm development. We just needed to get going and mixing, and obviously the front that comes through is going to help us with that. So it's much different, very, very kind of isolated. Again, still keeping stronger storm cells well to the north. And this is, remember, our marginal risk severe weather threat area for Wednesday's forecast. So it's a little different compared to where we are with our Tuesday outlook. So that's where we're at. Now, do we take this with end all be all, this is exactly what's going to happen for us, or do we take this with a grain of salt when we're talking about these forecast models, right? The ones that you're seeing right now. We take this with a grain of salt. That's what we do, because we are going to continue to see changes to the atmosphere. This literally happens second by second, all right? There's no change to that. It's going to constantly kind of manipulate. So we're doing our best kind of ideas every 3 hours as we gather as much energy and as much information from the atmosphere as we can every time that we launch kind of nodes into the atmosphere to measure what we've got going on, and of course measure the wind patterns as well, which is going to help us kind of drive where we're going to see the timing of some of these storms populate the area. So that's what I want to say about that. We're going to see some changes. We're going to see some alterations, but this gives you kind of a rough idea of what you can expect, right? It's over here, actually. It's a rough idea of what you can expect. So let's move forward into the rainfall totals, because we've been dealing with flash flood areas and flooding just in general, flood warnings. Creeks and rivers overflowing their banks. Some of the Missouri River is going to be about 5 feet over their flood stage out towards the east. And that can be a big concern as we move forward in time, as we gather up even more wet weather chances, right? So let's find where we're at right now with the rainfall totals. And I've got them right here. I'm going to load them up. Okay, and here we are. And you can see the numbers that we're dealing with here. Anywhere between about 3/4 of an inch to 1.25 inches is plausible to the south there, from Butler all the way up to the city itself. And then moving forward to Maryville and the Atchison area, that could be 1 to 2 inches of rainfall. Now, this is only taking into consideration through Wednesday, and we're not expected to see any rainfall today. So it's really Tuesday and Wednesday's forecast that we're talking about when we're discussing the rainfall totals here. I am not including Thursday's forecast. And Thursday's forecast looks rather healthy for widespread wet weather. So we could be adding anywhere to another 1/2 inch to an entire inch of rainfall just in Thursday's forecast alone. So with all the rainfall that we've gotten, all of our soil that's finally just sopped up as much as it could, and we're still dealing with some flood concerns. Now we're going to add even more water on top of that. So there could be another flood issue as we move forward. This could be a main situation that drags into our weekend that we'll continue to monitor for. Speaking of which, let's get you into our forecast for Thursday and show you where we're at and why we're discussing maybe the opportunity to increase the threat for severe weather Thursday. Remember, we don't have an outlook for Thursday that features a severe weather opportunity. It's day 4, and there's not enough confidence in all of our information and data and modeling that says, hey, we should issue some type of severe weather threat. So that's some good news, but it doesn't rule us out of getting closer to the actual day part of Thursday and then increasing that threat as we get more information through the next 72 hours or at least 48 hours. So let's move into Thursday, and there it is. There's a front. It's a very healthy front, and there it is pushing through in some of our models. Let me backtrack this to about lunchtime, or at least around 1 o'clock in general. Yeah, you see that little orange dot that we've got out there? Yeah, that's what I'm worried about right there. That's about Lynn County, or at least thereabouts, on the Missouri side. And that's where we could see some very powerful storm cells. Even the yellow, strong storms could be available to the region just south of the metro itself, right? So getting around maybe Harrisonville and then trekking on over towards Warrensburg. So I am concerned about this actually increasing to severe weather potential. We're going to continue to monitor this. This is only one of our models, but even the American model, the GFS, is indicating that we do have strong storm characteristics. So there could be a threat for us to increase this maybe to a marginal or potentially a slight risk for severe weather even into our Thursday outlook. And again, the timing of this looking more towards the mid-afternoon, and it continues to blow through the area all the way through the evening. So I think that's a little far-fetched to see this an all-day affair, but we'll continue to monitor it for you. I think it's going to move a bit quicker than that. I honestly think that it's not going to necessarily start up around 1 o'clock in the afternoon, but more likely towards the end of the day, maybe around the time the kids get done with school. But once more, we're going to continue to monitor this. We're going to get more details and track that for you. So that's what we're all about here. So that's it. That's what we've got for our update here. And I'm always trying to answer questions, or concerns to anybody who's on while we're up and about, tracking this kind of stuff. It is now 8:45 in the morning, and about 3 minutes I should get off here and actually get downstairs to do some cut-ins with you guys and then get ready for my KC Live. We'll talk more about this weather threat. But Austin says there is so much thunder and lightning in Belton, Missouri. Yeah, I mean, that was pretty crazy back then. Let's see. I think that's an old one. Let me pop up the new one that we've got going on here and see if we can update that for you. I am going to refresh this page and see where we're at. Let's see. Stacy, here we go. This is a perfect one here. Oh my God, we are having thunderstorms yet again? Question mark. Unfortunately, yes. We've got another opportunity. Welcome to the severe thunderstorm season of, the Midwest. I mean, this is it. When we just get those right kind of combinations of moisture and heat and lift, the wind moving in the right direction, and then, of course, instability to the atmosphere, we just start pounding out some strong storm cells as long as we get a front or low pressure system anywhere in the vicinity. And that's what's going on right now. So, yeah, Stacy, we are up again for some thunderstorms. Now, that being said, I need to reiterate, this is not as aggressive as this past weekend. We are not looking at severe weather the way we saw it from this past weekend, i.e. Friday, pushing into Saturday and a little bit of Sunday out there, okay? But we do still have an opportunity for some strong storm cells to occur. We could still see maybe some isolated rotation, mainly sticking to our northern counties, but I still don't want to rule out the potential of even getting a tornado in the viewing area. It's more concentrated to Iowa and Nebraska overall, but we do have that threat right there on the border that we're going to continue to monitor for, okay? So that's what we've got going on. Let's see if we've got any more, we've got any more comments, questions, or concerns. Heather says, anything for Wednesday? Yes, we do have things for Wednesday. It's very, very isolated with our thunderstorm activity. Let me pop this back up. and go right back into our IBM graph model run here to show you just what Wednesday looks like. So first and foremost, let's go to Tuesday. Let's talk Tuesday one more time. We talked about the timing of this mainly towards the early evening to mid-evening. I want everybody to be on alert, ready to go by 4:30 in the afternoon. That's the best bet. That's going to be peak heating, moisture content in the atmosphere. We could have some storms pop up as early as maybe 4 o'clock. Some of the models are indicating mid-evening. I want you guys to be ready by 4 p.m. So this is getting into Tuesday. Obviously, nice line. It's thick. You can see how we're dealing with scattered storms that stretch from the north all the way down towards the south here. So we all have a heightened risk for some storm activity. This is a better bet that it's more like a 50 or 60% chance for rainfall because we've got a nice line that goes through just about every county. That moves through. Now let's get on into Wednesday. Now this is where it becomes more like popcorn. We do have a storm system. It's out there. Most aggressive wet weather is lying to the north, though, around Iowa and Des Moines, but we could still see some isolated events more towards the afternoon time frame in this particular model. And you can see how it's kind of around the metro itself, maybe Paola, Harrisonville. I still don't want to rule out maybe Ray, Clay counties out there. Even portions of southern Platte County could see it. Don't take this as the end-all be-all, though. We could absolutely see an alteration to what this is predicting as we get to the actual event itself, but it gives you a rough idea. So that's what Wednesday looks like compared to Tuesday. Wednesday, much more isolated, whereas Tuesday is a line of storm activity that comes through from a front. So that was a great question. Unfortunately, I don't have much time here. I do have to kind of sort of buzz off and get downstairs to do some live cut-ins. Obviously, you can check us out on KCTV5 on actual television, and you can also check us out on my KC Live. I'll be doing an update there as well about the storm activity on tap for us for this work week. But yeah, we are at it again. Today, however, you don't have to worry about that. Today is beautiful. We've got great weather out there. Clear skies, high pressures in place, light on the winds, mainly out of the northwest for this morning. By this afternoon, we'll have the winds switch out of the south as the high pressure starts to track more towards the east. But sunny skies and low 70s are expected.